Mr. Moderator, fellow panelists, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon to you. I'll start off with a sincere apology because I'm the only one that stands between you and the lunch. So I promise it won't be short, but it will be the most pleasurable. All right, I have a deck of slides. I come from a very small country in the Southeast Asia named Malaysia. And this country in the last 2 decades has been known for finance, or specifically Islamic finance. And the previous government took certain measures to put a thought leadership around this space of Islamic finance by putting certain regulations at regulator level, Central Securities Commission, also at the Islamic Religious Council and the other bodies. So Malaysia has been a focal in promoting finance and Islamic finance, and that was 15 plus years back. Now, in the last 3 or 4 years, with digitization and with new technologies coming up, especially fintech, the government again looks to technology, how to bring this whole space of finance, banking, Islamic finance to the 21st century and especially digitize it. So when I conceived this idea of Fintera, it was just not out of sudden that I thought I should become a businessman and I want to do this. No. If you recall, in 2017, first quarter, GCC decided to blockade Qatar as a trade embargo. What was the immediate impact of this trade embargo? It was capital crunch, okay, where the federal government of Qatar was not able to raise capital in a fast way as they would like, and they resorted to go to a division of the World Bank called IILM, International Islamic Liquidity Management Division of the World Bank, okay? And they asked IILM, could you put a contract together to liquidate a lot of the land and oil-based assets to raise this capital, something like 20 billion in 24 hours. No problem. And they wrote this contract, Dr. Omar Hosseini. Okay. And within 24 hours, the contract lapsed and crashed because after the contract was put forward, Qatar realized that a lot of the land and oil-based assets were under Waqf. Waqf, W-A-Q-F. Now, Waqf is a very historic institution, almost 1,200 years old. Laws are very finely defined, even in certain countries where there is a Waqf or Awqaf Act at the federal constitution level, and then breaks up into the law itself, where there is Waqf law in Malaysia, Singapore, Indonesia, India, Pakistan, and of course the GCC, the Awqaf law itself, and Commonwealth countries. So whether you look at the Islamic phase of it, or you look at the normal law, which is the law of endowment, English law, is common law, is 95-98% similar. So the Fintera project was asked to come forward and to come out with a solution which is around capital crunch on Awqaf as a use case. Of course, it can be used in any area, whether it is property development or is peer-to-peer lending or is ECF, equity crowdfunding, no issue. But Awqaf was the specific use case. Now, I think for me to talk about technology, because I will break up this presentation in 4 segments. First segment, of course, to talk about technology, the technology of blockchain and what's so specific about this technology. The second is what's actually happening with this technology as a use case around the world. Is it just us thinking about it, or there is a larger scope to it? Industry. And the third thing, I'll give you a bit on what Fintera is, just very quickly, 1 minute, and I will then go into a little bit more detail how the blockchain impacts Islamic finance. So I've been a technologist. I'm not a Sharia guy. I'm not a finance banking guy. I'm not a Islamic finance guy. I'm a technologist. Lifelong, all I know is technology. I worked for Hewlett-Packard. I worked for Petronas, which is the Malaysian national oil and gas. I used to manage satellite communication and data exploration data management that comes from the ground into geosensors. I used to manage the whole division. So I was called upon to come out with a solution. The solution took almost 12 months, and it was crafted by specialists from Harvard Law to International Islamic University in Malaysia, Central Bank, Securities Commission, and multiple agencies globally. And I was able to put a model together that today 14 countries endorse fully at regulatory level and willing to take it for pilot in the next few months. Already multiple pilots are running globally, but in the next few months, more and more pilots will open up on this technology. Now, this word, blockchain, is not a very old word. It was coined about 8 years back with the invent of Bitcoin. And a lot of confusion is there that when we say blockchain, we understand that it is Bitcoin. No, that's not true. Blockchain and Bitcoin are two different things. Blockchain is the operating system. Bitcoin is the application. So I'll give you an example. Microsoft Windows is the operating system that gets your laptop running. Microsoft Office is the application, is the productivity tool. So both can survive separately. Yep. But you need Microsoft Office, you need Microsoft Windows to run your Office. So Bitcoin requires, or cryptocurrencies require the blockchain to run, but you could run a blockchain without cryptocurrencies. No issue whatsoever. So blockchain was invented 8 years back. But mainstream, that the industry and technologists started touching blockchain was with the invent of Ethereum network. That was just 4+ years back. This is the 5th year of the Ethereum technology, right? ETH. So now, when it came into mainstream 4 years back, a lot of, users started using blockchain and the cryptocurrencies. And what happens the first thing? All the bad characters get into the business, and we end up having a lot of Ponzi schemes, and we have a lot of MLM schemes, and we have unregulated cross-border transmissions and all kind of activities. And that was the same case in the early days of internet. If you recall, back in 1998, 99, what was the use of internet? We had a little dial-up modem. We used to plug our telephone cable in there and then dial. It made some sound, and we were on the internet. And what was the first thing you did? There were only 3 uses of internet back in 98 and 99. Number 1 was pornography. Number 2 was email. Number 3 was chat applications. We had no productivity tool using internet. But today, you look at it down, 14, 15 years now, and we can't live a day without internet. We need it for everything, whether it is personal productivity, enterprise productivity. We need internet. So the blockchain technology became famous because of Bitcoin. And why? Because of the rallies and trough of Bitcoin. Now, Bitcoin in December the last quarter 2017 rallied up to 20,000+ US$ per coin. And that's just unheard of, just unheard of. A lot of people made a lot of money, and a lot of people lost a lot of money. Now, that was the peak. And can you see the peaks and troughs? Now, the peaks, this is unheard of in investment banking or in finance, that you could make within 24 hours 30, 40, 50% return. And it was real. It was a real. I was in it. Okay? It's real. We made huge truckloads of cash, real cash, by playing in Bitcoin trading. Now, what happens since January 2018 till December 2018? It was a flat line. It started declining because so much of funds were stuck within the system that new users just didn't come on, and regulators started clamping down on regulations around KYC, AML, cross-border, Forex, and you name it, everything came down in every country. New users couldn't participate or come in fast enough, liquidity issue, so the coin started crashing. But in the last 1 month, what has happened? This is what's happening in the space of Bitcoin. Sorry, kind of go back one more. So from February or March till now, Bitcoin has started rallying again. If you read Cointelegraph, right, what it's saying is $100 million of institutional funds are being injected into Bitcoin network in 4 exchanges simultaneously. That is pushing the price up. It has gone 100% up in 1 month. That means your $1,000 could have become $2,000 in 30 days if you would have gone in Bitcoin. Today, yesterday's price is $5,275 per coin. Unheard of. You can become millionaire overnight, real money, totally legal. Okay? So this is the power, right, of the blockchain and crypto. Now again, I'm not promoting cryptocurrency here. I'm talking about blockchain as a technology. Now, let's leave that behind. From a technology, why is blockchain so special compared to all the last 25 years of ICT, information and communication technology that we have built? Is because of just 4 things. Just 4 things have been put together into a kind of amalgamated piece of technology called the blockchain. And what are those 4 things? Number 1, security. Number 2, your operating system. Number 3, your database. And 4 is the encryption. Now, encryption or your network. So now, putting these 4 things together into a single technology, it has made it so powerful that the other ICT technologies cannot compete economically. Meaning, yes, we can. We can talk about private key infrastructure for encryption. But is it cheap? The honorable speaker this morning spoke about putting a white box. Very true. I totally agree. We have been dealing with this white box in regulators, in telco, in financial institution. But the cost of adoption and maintenance is so high compared to blockchain. Where blockchain as private ledgers are just inexpensive and totally free of charge. Okay, and in the use case, I will show you how many hundreds of large financial institutions are coming onto blockchain for some of these reasons. So things like shared publicly, right? So they could be private or they could be public ledgers that could be shared, right? Decentralized, where not just a single server in a HQ is sitting, but it is distributed against all branches, where I think the financial industry was plagued with data replication around branches and the security around the data, right? The blockchain actually solves that problem, that you can have your data replicated in all kind of servers all over the place. They're called nodes. And you can have the equal amount of data fully secured. Security, we kind of have put the security of IT upside down. Do you know that in blockchain there is nothing like security? There is no security. Security, when I say IT security to you, the first thing you're thinking is firewall, antivirus, right? And you're thinking, no such thing exists in blockchain. We open the doors for the hackers and people who want information to come in, okay? And it is under the Byzantine fault tolerance principle of the gaming theory. So this is a very well researched theory called the Byzantine fault tolerance, where you open the gates of your castle, let the invaders come in, let them steal what they want, because they will not be able to take away anything. Firstly, everything is encrypted. Second thing is because of the consensus measure. So the consensus measure is that within the blockchain network, if there are, example, today on Bitcoin are 11,000 plus nodes. If 51 plus of the nodes do not agree with the data is thrown out. It is a self-healing, self-protecting system. There has been no single hack of a blockchain ever in the last few years of the history of blockchain. Yes, there have been multiple hacks on exchanges and on e-wallets. Those are the front-end pieces of the technology. But on the back-end piece of the technology, which is the blockchain, never has there been a single hack so far. And of course, is trusted and all of that. Because of the consensus engine of the rule of 51%, the Byzantine fault tolerance rule, it is highly trustable, right? Because each unit is a crypto graphical code which can be verified and tracked. Now, these are the major issues that regulators, financial institutions, and others, have in adoption. Of course, there are many, but one is the blockchain maturity. Blockchain has matured quite a lot. The large institutions are adopting it and are piloting it, right? It's no more what it used to be even a year ago. There are so many large projects like the EOS project, Ripple Network project. There's so many projects running that you can adopt those technology, and they're highly mature as an enterprise tool. Interoperability has always been an issue, right? Where you cannot interact Bitcoin with Ethereum, Ethereum with Ripple, Ripple with NEM or EOS, right? But there are now so many blockchain projects running where the interoperability is being created, where you are saying your SAP is talking to your Oracle. Oracle is talking to Microsoft, right? Which we had the same problem, if you recall, almost 10, 12 years ago, we had the same problem, where SAP will sell you the system and say all the servers have to be on SAP Linux platform, right? But today, that's not the problem. It has been solved. So in blockchain, even that work is going on. Security concerns, right? I think the key area is the legal regulatory framework, right? So regulators have looked at it, right, in depth actually, in multiple different jurisdictions. If you look at Southeast Asia, Malaysia, Singapore, Korea, Japan has been quite advanced in coming out with some DLT regulation. Other ones in this part of the world, Bahrain Central Bank, Malta, Gibraltar, UK, of course, United States took a totally different turn, which is towards securities versus utility. Singapore took a utility turn, but regulations are there. Even though that not all regulators see eye to eye, but I give you a good example. When I presented this to the Central Bank and Securities Commission of Kenya, right, what the governor said is, we are perfectly open, right, for you to introduce the blockchain solution, right? Let the critical mass build up, and then we have something to regulate, right? In the meantime, we are looking into adopting regulations of Bahrain Central Bank and the Singapore MAS authorities. So this is a good trend, right? And I think Africa and other countries that have been behind in technology can take this leap because regulations are actually there in pockets that you can take the precedence from those regulations. Okay. Sure. So I'm going to do a very long, big jump like on the moon and just, fly through and then go maybe just on a few key points. Now, blockchain is here to stay. Blockchain is a huge technology. This is from Pricewaterhouse. In the next few years, you're going to see that blockchain will get or creep into the back end, your server, your data centers. It will creep in there and it will become so huge that we'll not be able to live. Enterprise will not be able to live without blockchain. Just like internet, we cannot live as a front end. Blockchain will become the back end technology that will not be able to live. Look at the staggering numbers that the different industry verticals are adopting blockchain in different ways. If you compare the crypto assets, this slide is a little bit old, I know the prices have crashed of crypto assets, but if you compare the reserves within crypto asset in US dollar, today the crypto asset or used to be the 20th largest reserve of cash in the world. It is larger than Turkey. If you see Turkey is down there, it's larger than Malaysia. If you see Malaysia is 25. Imagine the amount of US dollar cash that has gone into crypto assets. That is how large it is today. It is undeniably, right, and it has to be noticed. Now, these are only few of the users of blockchain. New York Stock Exchange was one of the first in 2016 to adopt all trades to be on blockchain. The most recent, like 2 months back, is HSBC. HSBC has just launched their trade finance on the blockchain in 24 countries. Standard Chartered Bank last year, end of last year, adopted the Ripple network for cross-border remittances between Singapore to India. Axis Bank of India, all cross-border remittances on the Ripple network. CIMB Bank in Malaysia, cross-border remittance with zero service charge to those countries. There is no transaction fee. When you do many remittances today, you pay some kind of percentage, but on the blockchain, there is zero remittance or transmission fee. It's totally free. remitting any amount of money that you want to send out. Now, this is a very disruptive technology, right? But because it is in a highly regulated space, what I believe and I see is that it is basically a paradigm shift. It is not going to be, just disrupt to break. It is disrupt to build or to rebuild, where blockchain has to adopt the FSA, Financial Services Act in Commonwealth country, IFSA, the Islamic Financial Services Act, and the rules and regulations built within the central banking and securities. Only then mainstream banks, right, are going to adopt this technology. Now, this is what we did in the Finterra project. So we are only a 15-month-old project, but we have, offices and teams spread out across multiple jurisdictions. And this is the team here. My chairman is ex-central banker from Bank Negara, Malaysia. Some of the team. We are about 50 over people in the team. And the use case. Now, the last thing I'll just go over is quickly the use case. So the first use case, we said, let's build something that actually impacts society. We looked at the Islamic social financing, and we looked at the institutions of Sadaqah, Zakat, and Waqaf, right? 3 institutions. And, sorry, I'll just change that. Now, the biggest issue in these 3 institutions was transparency and also traceability. Now, every one of us, we know that when we put funds, right, into charity or into charitable development, we don't have transparency and we don't have traceability. Blockchain is the best solution to bring this on the table, to bring transparency, because you can actually track your dollar to the last mile on the blockchain. And also you can have traceability where there is actually reporting back by the NGO or by the Waqf board in the utilization of fund and the actual ROI, non-monetary, but benefit ROI on the utilization of the funds. And this is what the Waqf Chain project was all about. Yes. Sorry, I'm not able to change my slides anymore. I think my time ran out and the battery ran out. Okay. All right. So I'll end there and maybe we can take it offline if anyone is interested. But so far the project has been endorsed at regulatory level in Malaysia, Singapore, Indonesia, India, Bahrain, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Emirates, Kuwait, Morocco, and Kenya. Pilots are already running in Kenya. In India, we just started, in Malaysia, and the next one launch is supposed to be here in Turkey. That's what the signing ceremony was this morning with the Awqaf here, and also in Oman will be in June. So this is kind of a approach for Waqf as equity crowdfunding, where a blockchain keeps track of the funds that are coming in and are being utilized and reported back in terms of transparency and the traceability of the funds. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Hasan.